We're back with more here on Fox 44. I'm Kellyanne Biley. A quick recap of tonight's top stories. Members of New Orleans City Council want the National Guard called in to help control rising violent crime rates. Governor John Bel Edwards, however, says that is not the answer. And a 16-year-old has to wait another month before knowing whether he'll be tried as an adult. It comes as the shooting death of an innocent bystander, Dolores Jackson. She was outside with her 3-year-old son when she was hit by a stray bullet. That teen faces first-degree murder charges. And a new Ochsner medical facility is one step closer to opening. It'll be located in Ascension Parish, Gonzales specifically, and it's there to offer better access to health care for residents in the area. It officially opens tomorrow. And your local election headquarters. A federal appeals court has lifted its hold on Louisiana's congressional redistricting. That ruling means a special session may start Wednesday for a remap ordered by a federal district judge. That judge, Shelley Dick, is ordering lawmakers to include a second majority black congressional district in the new map and have it redrawn by June 20th. Dick feels the current map will tilt elections to favor white conservative candidates. The state's top election official, Kyle Ardoin, is behind the appeal to stop Dick's ruling, which was in effect until yesterday when the stay was reversed. Ardoin did release a statement following the latest decision saying, quote, "While I strongly disagree, I also remain committed that my office will do everything in our power to administer fair and equitable elections for all Louisiana voters in 2022. Now, a full appeal of the federal court's decision is expected to be heard during the week of July 4th. And now an update in the investigation into the death of Ronal Green, who died while in state police custody. District Attorney John Belton of Lincoln and Union parishes says the FBI has more information for him this week. It comes as Belton announces his bid for Attorney General. Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht has the story.
District Attorney John Belton says that he is to meet with the FBI this week to have investigation files from the Ronal Green case turned over to him. He would not comment on specific charges he would bring, but expects to move quickly once he has all the information.
Once I get that information, then I will move and ask for a special grand jury like I've promised.
Recent testimony revealed that the governor's office viewed body camera video months before Belton did from John Clary, where Green is shown being beaten. Belton says the reason behind the delay in evidence being turned over to him causes him great concern.
That's the big question, and I think that's part of the reason why state police is under investigation.
Amid this investigation, Belton has announced that he is running for Attorney General. With 30 years of prosecuting experience, he hopes to uphold the law and work to reduce crime in Louisiana.
The Attorney General's office is not, should not be involved in policymaking. We execute the law, we follow the law, and we apply the law.
That election will be in the fall of 2023. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
And Governor John Bel Edwards has also been called to testify about the Ronal Green case. That was scheduled for this Thursday. However, it is being pushed back considering the special election session is expected to be going on. Well, some of former President Donald Trump's closest aides testified before Congress, saying they repeatedly told the then president the 2020 election was not stolen from him. But they say Trump refused to accept defeat and continued to blame voter fraud. Today's House Select Committee hearing tried to show the so-called big lie ultimately led to the January 6 riots at the Capitol. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in Washington now with the details.
Some of former President Trump's closest advisors telling the House Select Committee they tried to convince him that voter fraud claims were baseless, but say he was detached from reality.
On the night of and the weeks following the 2020 election, several advisors inside the Trump campaign tried to urge then-President Donald Trump that there was no evidence of widespread voter fraud.
There was an avalanche of all these allegations of fraud that built up over a number of days, and it was like playing whack-a-mole because something would come out one day and then the next day it would be another issue.
Advisor after advisor giving similar testimony before the House January 6 committee Monday.
He said there's lots of fraud going on here. Told him flat out that much of the information he's getting is false and or just not supported by the evidence.
The committee saying President Trump knew he lost, but declared victory and spread false claims of fraud anyway.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Something former advisor Jason Miller said Trump was urged to do by an allegedly drunk Rudy Giuliani.
And the mayor was definitely intoxicated. There were suggestions by I believe it was Mayor Giuliani to go and declare victory.
The investigation aims to show Trump knowingly used phony evidence to push a stolen election theory. But critics say these hearings are nothing more than partisan politics.
We should have a reliable summary of what happened. But you're not going to get it if you've convinced people that it's just a partisan exercise, which is what I think they've done here.
2 more hearings are scheduled for this week. Wednesday's focusing on Trump's attempts to, quote, corrupt the Department of Justice, and Thursday on the pressure campaign on former Vice President Mike Pence. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
And a bipartisan group of senators announced over the weekend that they had reached a framework deal to combat gun violence. But the modest deal isn't getting great reviews from some. And Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard brings us the latest.
Senators say they are one step closer to passing a bill following deadly mass shootings last month.
For the first time in a long time, the Senate has a path forward on legislation that will save lives. Make no mistake about it, we have a lot of work left to do before we actually pass a bill.
The framework deal put together by 10 Republicans and 10 Democrats would close some loopholes. It would enhance the background check process for gun buyers under 21, incentivize states to adopt or strengthen red flag laws, and it would fund more mental health services and more school safety programs. It would not raise the age limit to buy nor ban AR-15 style rifles nor large magazines.
We need to embrace the art of the possible. That's what politics is about. We won't get what we want. We won't get everything that I've supported or that the Democratic caucus has supported, but we are going to make progress here.
The framework is only a deal at this point and not finalized legislation. There is no guarantee once the bills are actually written that they will be able to get 60 votes in the Senate. It would also have to pass the House before reaching the president's desk. Some Democrats say the bill goes nowhere near as far as they want.
I'm not really interested in doing something for show for the American public. I'm really interested in passing a solution for the American public.
The Senate leader wants the bill on the floor as soon as possible. Senators leave for a 2-week vacation on June 24th. That is exactly 1 month after the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
And U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana is one of 10 Republicans who support that deal on gun control. In a statement, he said, "I joined these negotiations to ensure any agreement addressed illegal gun violence while upholding due process and protecting law-abiding Americans' Second Amendment rights. This agreement upholds that commitment." And continuing coverage tonight, the average price of a gallon of gas in the U.S. has now jumped to about $5.10 per gallon. But the lowest of those highs, fortunately, is right here in Baton Rouge. The prices are still putting a strain on capital area drivers, however. And Fox 44's Rachel Riley, therefore, has some tips on how to soften the blow.
Gas prices are high everywhere. Behind me, a gallon reaching almost $4.50. Now, there are some ways to make sure you get the most out of every drop.
We continue to see gas prices climb and new records set just about every day.
And now, $4.52, breaking another one, the highest average Louisiana has ever seen, according to AAA.
You know, the economy's recovery, coming out of the pandemic, as well as the ongoing Russian war with Ukraine.
AAA spokesman Nick Chabaria says there's no magic fix to increase your car's fuel economy, but you can make the best out of the situation, beginning with your maintenance.
Things like oil changes, taking care of any check engine lights that come up. The easiest thing that drivers can do is making sure their tires are properly inflated. Underinflated tires can decrease a vehicle's fuel economy by as much as 10%.
He says aggressive driving is one of the biggest fuel burners.
Avoid jackrabbiting, which is hard accelerating to try to beat traffic or try to beat a stoplight.
Other tips are to cut off the car if stopped for a long time, remove unnecessary weight, and slow down.
Most vehicles will top out their fuel economy right around 55 miles an hour.
And before you take that summer road trip, do some research, shop around.
See maybe what prices are looking like where you're going, versus what they're at where you live. So you may save some money by filling up at home rather than on the road.
AAA says you can expect these elevated prices throughout the summer. From Baton Rouge, Rachel Riley, Fox 44 News.
And the shocking inflation numbers are crushing consumer confidence and could push the federal government to make some drastic moves. Now we have our Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble with the latest.
Americans are in search of relief as consumer prices hit a 40-year record. but confidence that the White House or the Federal Reserve can course correct is running low. Moms across the country are sounding the alarm on the rising costs of raising children.
Inflation needs to be top priority because moms and families are hurting, where they're struggling, and we need instant relief.
Drivers aren't the only ones unhappy with high gas prices. One Minnesota gas station owner put up this sign that says, "We hate our gas prices too." The national average for a gallon of gas is now over $5.
It's painful to go to the gas station, and I think we're all just feeling that.
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, and everyone needs to brace for that.
To get to school and home every single day, it's costing us $115 a week.
All of this amid the hotter than expected reading on the Consumer Price Index for May. It raises concerns that the Fed could step up its attempt to contain inflation with higher interest rates. And some say a recession is on the way.
Given where we've gotten to, it's more likely than not that we'll have a recession within the next 2 years.
A survey from the New York Fed shows consumers think the cost of food, healthcare, rent, and tuition will fall over the next year. In Chicago, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
And speaking of weather, we've been under this heat advisory, and a heat wave is, of course, making its way across the country, bringing some triple-digit temperatures to several states. Those conditions are also fueling some wildfires out in the west. Fox Weather's Will Nunley has this story.
Just a week to go until the start of summer, and Americans are already seeing record temperatures.
Whatever it takes just to jump, get ahead of the heat.
A heat wave that began out west is impacting the central and eastern U.S. this week, putting more than 100 million Americans under heat alerts. The mercury climbing as much as 30 degrees above average in some locations. Here in Nashville, we're seeing temperatures in the 90s, but humidity makes it feel warmer at times. The National Weather Service urging people to limit their outdoor plans.
Get out here early, get it in, and then it's the beginning of my day, so my exercise is already over with at the early part of the day.
The extreme conditions have put millions at risk for heat-related illnesses. Health experts say the warmth from the outside can drive up body temperature like a fever from an infection.
What happens is when you get really warm, your blood vessels dilate, they get bigger, and that can drop your blood pressure.
Over the weekend, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Denver posted record temps. The heat and dry conditions fueled multiple wildfires in Southern California, including the Sheep Fire. That blaze now stands at roughly 1,000 acres with minimal containment. Flames have also broken out in Arizona and New Mexico, which have already been hit by devastating fires this year. And forecasters expect this heat wave to move a little further east on Tuesday. In Nashville, Will Nunley, Fox Weather.
Well, those temperatures we know aren't just happening up north. They're happening here at home as well. Ashley, we had that heat advisory today. What can we expect for tomorrow?
It's going to be pretty similar, Kellyanne, except our humidity, we're really not going to notice it, but it is going to mean feels like temperatures instead of 108 and higher, it's going to be closer to about 105. I know that's not much, but that will mean the difference between a heat advisory versus not. So if you are going to be out on the water tomorrow, a good idea, because you do want to stay cool. You want to find a way to stay cool and hydrated. Don't forget the sunblock as well, 95. And if you are headed out on Lake Maurepas or Lake Pontchartrain, the wave height's about 1 to 2 feet. So coming up.